Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the District 66 Town Hall meeting. I'm going to turn the meeting over to our District 66 Director, sorry, old school, Maggie Gahagan.
Thank you, Nancy. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and members of District 66 and a few other districts here. Thank you for being here tonight. For those of you who this is your first time attending one of our town halls, this is something we have been doing every Thursday night since the beginning of the program year. We decided that since we were meeting online and not able to travel throughout the great state of Virginia to see you, that we would have an event once a month to give you the opportunity to meet other members throughout the district, but also to learn something new. So we have different speakers every month. So this is an opportunity to like I said, meeting other people. And then we will, at the end, we have a question and answer time, just so you can ask us any questions of the trio. So I'd like to welcome everyone again. I hope everybody is staying warm and staying healthy during this COVID surge that we're having again. And I hope that you had a wonderful holiday time. At this time, I'd like to call upon Linda Kennedy, our Program Quality Director, just to say a few words before we get started. Linda, the virtual lectern is yours.
Thank you, Maggie, and Happy New Year. Baby, it's cold outside, but it's warm in here. Let's keep it warm. Just a couple of things to let you know. We are continuing with club officer training. So for those officers who are looking for an opportunity to get trained for their role, it is now up in Pro Class. So log in and find your role. And it's not just officers. Let's say some of the members are looking to become an officer soon. We got another 6 months. Then it's an opportunity for you to learn about something. Also, from our award ceremony, I know some of you are wondering, where is my trophy? Well, I am so pleased to let you know they are going to be mailed out, as well as the ribbons. If your address is Toastmasters International, not your email address. I'm not going to send a trophy to your email. I am going to send it to your home address or whatever you have with Toastmasters International. If you have a business, if you have using a business address where there is nobody there, you may want to let me know. A few of the members have said, please use this address instead. Mailing address, physical address, send that to me. And that is all that I have. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Linda. At this time, I'd like to call upon Tishan as our Club Growth Director for any greetings that she has.
Thank you, Maggie. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm looking forward to this new year as we continue to work towards our goals. I'm excited that we're working on chartering a new club, as well as I am having our marketing meeting next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So those who are club coaches and mentors, if you would please be in attendance. We got a lot of work to do so we can finish this year strong. And I look forward to all of you having open houses, as well as other membership drives with our upcoming membership announcements. So I want to thank all of you for your continued support. Thank you.
Thank you, Tishan. Now, if everyone can please turn your cameras on so our International President can see the wonderful members we have here in District 66. And we have people keep continuously coming in. So thank you, Robin and Freddie, for handling the emission. All right, at this time, I'm going to introduce our International President. During the early stages of the pandemic, we quickly learned how resourceful and resilient our clubs can be. We rapidly changed course to online meetings and opened a new world of possibilities in the process. It's now crystal clear that the world is undergoing a speaking revolution. It's no longer a matter of when someone will need to speak or present publicly, but when and through what medium. How can Toastmaster members shape our organization to meet the needs of the next 100 years while continuing to honor our rich traditions? Please help me welcome our International President, Distinguished Toastmaster, Margaret Page, as she shares 3 ways that we can help our clubs build back stronger. We'll set course for the future and move towards realizing our long-term vision of being the first choice provider of dynamic, high-value, experiential leadership training, building back stronger together. Please help me welcome our International President, Margaret Page.
Thank you so much, Maggie. It's a delight to be here in District 66 in the great state of Virginia. I love it when people say that. It is so inspiring. We don't use that kind of terminology in Canada. We never say the great province of, but I love that you in Virginia do say that about your state. So bravo. And it's wonderful to see so many beautiful faces here that I am so familiar with. Of course, greetings go out to not only the district director, the program quality director, the club growth director, but of course we have, I believe Bonnie is here from another district as well, Bonnie Maddock, and we have past district director Perry Neal here. My pal, Sal, my pal, and Charles Gates, who have I worked with. So it is lovely to be here and see so many fabulous faces. Now I have to say, I am going to show a PowerPoint slide deck in a moment. However, they have made me co-host and that will happen. But I hear as people are coming in, the gong is going off. So notifications are set in this Zoom profile set up the way it is in District 66. So you'll have to bear with that as you hear the gonging as members coming in a little bit late. But what I heard Maggie say, I believe it was Maggie that indicated, and what a great name she has, doesn't she? A great name. When I first met Maggie, I said to her, I always wished I was a Maggie because Maggies have fun. You know, Margarets are so formal and so, Maggie's though sounds like a lot of fun. So whenever I'm trying to have fun, I will pull out that name Maggie. So I know in District 66 that you know how to do that to have a lot of fun. But we heard about, again, yet another COVID surge of what's happening. Now, I don't know what they're calling it where you are in Virginia, but here we're calling it the 5th wave. Parts of the world is the 3rd wave, the 4th wave, the 5th wave, whatever it is. Here we're calling it the 5th wave. And so I remember just less than 2 years ago being, and Sal may have been there, that we were actually, I don't believe Sal was there. He opted to participate digitally. But we were in Denver, Colorado, got sent home. I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. Of course, as soon as I got home, when quarantine was something very new to us that we weren't really familiar with. And about day 5 of my quarantine, it was my birthday. And so there I was sitting there all by myself on my birthday, just of course on the computer all day long, when late in the afternoon, my doorbell rings. And I thought, who on earth could that be? You know, I haven't ordered anything. And most of my friends know that I am in quarantine and, what's going on here? So I went to the door, and around my door, I have glass panels on each side. And so I looked out in the glass panel, and there was my daughter with my 3 grandsons. I have a set of twins, and at the time they were 8 years old. And there they were holding this birthday cake and singing happy birthday to me. Well, my heart just leapt up, the tears immediately were in my eyes, but tears of joy that I was so happy that they hadn't forgotten that they were singing happy birthday to me. Well, I tried to make eye contact with each one of them and show them my beaming smile, how happy I was that they had taken the time to drive over there, although we're on opposite sides of the wall on the window. And one grandson, he put his hand on the glass and I put my hand up on the glass as well. So we could, you know, a little bit feel like we were touching each other. But my one grandson kept hiding behind my daughter as they were singing happy birthday. And every time I tried to make eye contact, he snuck behind her and never would peer out at me until just near the end of the song. And I was able to make eye contact with them as a grandma would. She, you know, put on her best smile for her birthday. And when his eyes hit mine, I realized he was in terror, total fear of grandma. He was trying to get behind his mother for protection. He didn't know anything about the virus, but what he knew was that I had been traveling, I had been on airplanes, I had to be in quarantine in case I had been exposed to COVID, and that I would give it to him. Well, after they left, I fell on the ground in a heap, crying, not from joy, but from realizing how very different his life was going to be from mine. The experiences that I had as a child, to be feeling comfortable, good grief. I think we were 5, 6 years old and walked to school and all those other things. But to think that my grandson was afraid of me was just really difficult for a grandmother to take. And over the weeks and months, the severity or the realization of where we were at came to me full force. And as a leader, I've always, a business owner since the time of I was 21, I've always been good at looking out and imagining where the future was, where we were going down the road. In fact, sometimes I live a little too much in the future and need to pull myself back into the present moment and remind myself to be fully present and not just always thinking about the future. But about April of 2019, April and May of 2019, I truly felt like I had been in a snowstorm. We just had a snowstorm here in Vancouver with a whole bunch of snow. When I was young, when my children were young, I can remember driving my daughter to a dance recital and the snow came down so heavily, you couldn't see anything. And, but that fear, if I slow down, someone from behind could run over us. And these are, you know, this is a highway, there's trucks on there. If I drive too fast, I could go drive into the car ahead of me. Not quite sure where the ditch is on the side of the road. All I could do was, you know, grab that steering wheel tight, and just, you know, can I see the white line? Can I see the white line? Can I see the white line? And to me, that's the way it was in Toastmasters, and maybe Sal can has shared his experience. But we were just clinging to our vision, our 4 core values, our mission. You know, everything else had to be put aside. Just focus, and above all, just like in a snowstorm, driving a car with children in it, or even adults, you have to take care of the people. That is the utmost, is to make sure the people are safe that you are responsible for. And so that's what we did. And as the days progressed, day by day, slowly the lights, or the snowstorm that I felt I was in, this winter snowstorm, this whiteout that I didn't know what the future would look like. Well, there were members all over the world that were carrying torches, that were lighting the way, showing the way. They were show up at meetings across the world from them. They showed up in club officer training in huge numbers. members that didn't often come on site all of a sudden came virtually. Everyone was showing up at meetings. And it was an exciting time about 18 months ago, when all of a sudden this was a new arena. We had this new landscape to master. And so members around the world were showing the way and having the opportunity to meet people they never would have had the opportunity to meet, bringing back best practices to their clubs. So it was very, very exciting for several months there. And then another wave of the pandemic hit it, didn't it? And another wave and another wave. And it has been a challenge to make sure that we continue to do what we do best, and that's to help individuals grow and learn in our Toastmasters environment. So when I became international president, of course, before I became international president, I invited the district leaders to build back stronger. I felt we had a pivot. This is a pivotal time in our history, and it's a defining moment in our history. What are we going to do? How are we going to take care of Toastmasters, the clubs that we have been given care of? How are we going to take care of them? And how are we going to take care of the organization? We have 98 years now, almost 98 years of history and members that came before us that we are responsible for to make sure that the organization continues to grow and learn. But I think we have amazing opportunities to build back stronger, and particularly in 3 areas. And that's what I would like to talk to you about today, is building back stronger. So let me just size myself so I'm not so small there, and it feels like that you're not just talking to a bopping head over there. So the first I want to talk to you about is quality clubs. This is absolutely critical for success for any of your clubs. Now, a number of years ago, the board of directors went out and researched clubs around the world and defined what made a quality club. And they put it under 4 umbrellas. There was lots of little tips, but there were 4 key umbrellas that helped define a quality club. And that one was a professional agenda, that when you arrived, the agenda, the meeting schedule was all organized. The number 2 in quality meetings was that there were variety in meetings. You didn't just have 1 or 2 speakers each and every week, but that there were variety and themes and excitement and debates and storytelling and a host of different things to make it exciting and help define what a quality meeting was. And the third thing is that they was fun and supportive. So the supportive, of course, was about mentoring, but also fun. A fun environment is part of what a quality club meeting is. And the fourth element was that we recognize member achievement. And of course, quality clubs do that. They recognize member achievement, not only what you develop in Toastmasters, but also recognize achievement that's going on in your life. Now, I know there's some of you sitting in the room that says, she's got a typo there in quality. Well, I like to think that in the quality, we have to put the Toastmaster in. We have to put the T in quality, which is us. We have to give it our all in order to have quality meetings. But essentially, that's where our product's delivered. That's what it comes down to. If we don't have quality meetings, it's difficult to get people to come back, to get your guests to join. So the very simple is have quality meetings. But here is our opportunity. We defined quality meetings a number of years ago. That was for on-site meetings. But around the globe, we have approximately 500,000 meetings a year in Toastmasters Club. That's an approximate because some clubs meet bi-weekly, some meet monthly, and then there's those that meet weekly, and there's some people that call it fortnightly that they meet, not bi-weekly, but fortnightly. But many of those are now meeting virtually. And the international work world, multinational companies around the globe have indicated in the years to come, 60% of their meetings will be virtual. So the marketplace is going to be heavily weighted to virtual meetings, but we yet have not defined what a quality virtual meeting is. Now, I know Maggie asked you all to put on your video cameras today. Why was that? Why was that, friends? I'd like to see in chat. Why have your video cameras on? Full engagement, to engage with each other. It's important to see each other, to have quality meetings. Yes, to get to know each other and connect so that the speaker can see you feel a part of the meeting. Indeed, indeed. So we have this opportunity, this golden opportunity in Toastmasters to define what virtual meetings look like, what quality virtual meetings look like, and say to the world, we've tested out 500,000 meetings a year, and this is what we'd like to share, what we believe is a quality virtual meeting. But we have to be having quality virtual meetings. We need to be having our videos on as we are co-creating together in this environment. I need to feel you. You need to be fully present, not answering emails, not making a sandwich, but here with me. That's how we develop quality meetings around the globe that we can then go say to the marketplace, these are the 6 steps to a quality meeting. These are the 8 steps to a quality meeting, whatever it takes. And the same is true for hybrid. We have yet to define what a quality hybrid meeting is. Now we have to have enough of those meetings, and we have to have enough people testing it out and saying, we tried this, this didn't work, this is what we recommend, this is what we don't recommend. And so we have amazing opportunities in the years ahead. And, you know, opportunities don't just happen. You actually have to create them. So the very first step in our organization, building back not just to where we were, but even stronger, because this is an opportunity to do so. We have this opportunity that now geographic borders have been eliminated, reduced, no longer a challenging factor. We have 3 models instead of basically 1. We have opportunities that we get to create and continue to help support and grow yourself as a better communicator, a better leader, a better person in your community, a better employer, a better employee, a better family member with what you learned in Toastmasters in the opportunities here. So the very first thing in building back stronger quality clubs. Number 2 is membership. Members in your club. Many of us in the October dues renewal had challenges, and I'd like to acknowledge Capital Speakers Toastmasters with today sitting with 9 DCP points, 26 members, which I think they had around 16 was the base. So they've mastered and figured out and understood, learned, take advantage of opportunities to grow their club by adding members, Members in a club is critical. Now, it used to be in Dr. Ralph Smedley's times, clubs averaged 30 members per club. That was the average. And the way Dr. Smedley described it is that they would have table topics and they would have 20 people doing table topics each and every meeting. So you can imagine the length of meetings that they had. And they would have 50 meetings a year. So you had 20 table topics, 50 meetings a year. You were exposed to 1,000 different opinions. And he strongly felt this is where we help develop critical thinking skills that served you in all areas of your life because you were exposed to so many different opinions in your club. In fact, when the chartering came out about what should the charter number be, Dr. Smedley felt it ought to be 30, but of course it was 20. Now, some of us think of 20 as the ceiling, that's all we need to get to, and we'll try to get to that, and that's it. But 20 is the floor. It's a minimum of 20. And my personal belief, and everyone has a different thought of this, but my personal belief is the sweet spot of clubs is around 28 to 32 members. You have enough people doing all the functionary roles. You get to speak, you get to deliver a speech about once a month, once every 6 weeks. You're not pressured to do 2 or 3 functionary roles. So I believe that's the sweet spot. Some people think it's 30, some people think it's higher, some people think it's lower, but definitely 20 ought to be the floor and always striving above that. So please do set your goals higher than the 20. And when you do that, the skills you build in leadership, in finding solutions, finding new ways to do it, will serve you everywhere else. So I liken this to, I'm sure all of you from where you are remember the Apollo 13 story, that the aircraft, the Apollo 13 had a leak, and those down in NASA gathered up everything on the table and said, okay, this is what we have to work with. This is what they have up there. Let's solve the problem and let's bring these people back safely. And I think we're at an Apollo 13 moment now. We have what we have on the table, but we get to add a few extras. We get to add a few extras. We get to add, now we have hybrid meetings, and now we have virtual meetings, and now we can access people through social media. Now we can have specialized clubs. If I'm a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or whatever, I can have a specialty clubs around women who knit. Anything I can develop a specialty club around and have like-minded people. But we have all that on the table. And it's our job to bring those clubs back safe into our district. Have those clubs, our responsibility is to have them in good shape, just like Apollo 13 had to bring those astronauts back. Our job is to bring those clubs back on stream, to make a difference in those people's lives so they can go out and make a difference in the world. We help them find their voice, make a difference in the world, and we do it at an affordable price because of the peer support and leadership that you all show. And it's our job to bring in those members. So that's the second point of building back stronger, is let's get those clubs up to 30, 28 to 32, And when we do that, that'll make a huge difference all around the globe into how Toastmasters is perceived around the world. So opportunities, there are opportunities there, and I'm sure each of you can reach out as well, or the district has perhaps already asked those that are doing it. Capital speakers, what did you do? What are you doing that brought members in? I'm excited to hear. So please, if any of the members of Capital Speakers are here, please feel free to share your 2 or 3 points in the chat of how you were able to build your club during these times, these massive waves of COVID. What you're doing, you know, essentially is COVID, get out of the way, we're coming through. We've got a job to do. All right, so there are opportunities that I mentioned you don't have to, that we have to create. And we are all faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. And this is our time to show leadership and solve it. Now, the third thing I think is so fascinating about who we are and what we do is that we create community. We create community in our clubs. We've cared for people. During the pandemic, there were people in India bringing blood transfusions to people, bringing respirators to people because they didn't have respirators. The situation in India was extremely dire, and it was Toastmasters that were out there. Recently in the Philippines, you know, they had a terrible situation there, and it's Toastmasters that are bringing water and safety and helping, you know, lock up buildings in the Bahamas as well. Whenever there's a tornado, it's Toastmasters that go out there and make a difference and create this kind of community. But let me ask you this. If you were to raise the bar on the kind of community you have in your Toastmasters Club, what would that look like? And so Lou Ann Hunt has put that their club has opened our membership to everyone. We've added members since then. But what would that look like? And I'm going to share a story with you that I joined Peloton during the Peloton, you know, the bike company, the famous bike thing that the stocks went all crazy. And I went screaming reluctantly to Peloton. So what had happened was I started walking as soon as my you know, that I didn't have to isolate anymore. I started walking and made sure I walked 10,000 steps. Well, one day I was climbing up a hill, and of course I injured my knee, tore my meniscus, tore my CL, so was in terrible, terrible shape. Got physiotherapy that took 4 or 5 months, and the physiotherapist said, you need to get a stationary bike, not a, I had a bike already for riding bikes. And he said, no, that's not good because you're too, you know, you have to stop, you have to start, you have to stop, you have to start. So it's not good for you. However, I was really resistant to buy yet another exercise device that I thought was going to be sitting in my home, not doing anything. So I went and got a Peloton bike. Now there's 2 things that I've learned from that community. The first is this. So I was taking a 6 weeks class. It was called Power Zones class. And some of the classes were not, you know, that strenuous. It was just about building endurance. So they were light. You didn't have to push yourself too far. But one day I was taking this 60-minute class, and we were measuring how you had been at the beginning of the 6 week, how you were at the end of the 6 weeks to see if you had improved. And halfway through, this gentleman, Dennis Morton, a lovely, lovely gentleman who teaches the class, halfway through, he said, you know, up until now, you didn't need me. We could have played the music, you could have, we could have given you the cadence, we could have given you the resistance and just asked you with text. He said, but now we're a half an hour in, and now is when you're getting tired. Now is when you need me. And he said, I have a plan to get us there. And that's exactly why I'm here. You don't need me at the beginning. You need me when you are tired, when you don't have the energy to go on. And it's my job to see that you get to the end safely.
Now, if this week, like next week, maybe, because this week is almost over. If next week there was a storm in Power.
Thank you. That we are growing your capacity, your fitness level, your ability to handle stress, your ability to do a lot of physical things better or longer for your age or whatever. And it's my job to get you there. That helped me think about leadership a little bit differently, that often in the beginning, after people have read the manual and know they don't necessarily need us, but when it's time, when you hit that wall, that's when you need that community. That's when you need that leader to pull it out for you and say, we can do it. I'm here behind you. I believe in you. We can do this. And so I have been so inspired by this Peloton community. It has put me on fire. Now, we just had New Year's, as you know, and in New Year's, at the end of the year, the Peloton community, they were raving the first few days of the new year that they have the ability on their app to measure high fives. And let me tell you, I was there a couple months before I understood that I was getting high fives and I probably ought to be giving high fives. I was just, doing my exercise focus. I just needed 45 minutes or 60 minutes exercise to keep myself fit. And anyhow, finally discovered that some of these things that people were high-fiving me. But at the end of the year, last year, 2021, I want you to think first about if you could think about how many people you said something positive to in the year, how many would that be? And then think about what the average Toastmaster, because you're above average, so you're probably going to, you're going to rate yourself probably higher than the average Toastmaster because you're here. And you're paying attention, so that's good. But give yourself a guess on what that might be. And I will tell you, they, in the Peloton community last year, 600 million high fives, 600 million high fives, supporting each other, nurturing each other, caring for each other, nudging each other on. And I think about who is setting the standard about what community is. You get to set the standard in your club. You are the ones setting the standard. And if you want to be inspired by yourself, set that high, set that bar high, what you are willing to do for others and what you want your club to do for others. Sometimes I think I want to be the mentor that I wish I had. There were times that were challenging. There were times that were difficult. I want to be that mentor that I wish I had in those difficult times. But we are about growing people. So how can we raise the bar? How can we establish our communities even better so that someday in the Peloton community, they are talking about the Toastmaster community and how they support each other in their growth. In fact, not just in the Peloton community, but all over the globe. Let's be setting the standard of how we support each other in our communities, how we lift each other up, how we see the good in each other, and singularly, we are just one drop. But together, we are the ocean and can make a massive difference around the world. So let me end by sharing with you what I tell everyone around the world. I invite people, you might have read it in one of my articles in the Toastmaster magazine, but I encourage everyone to adopt this model. I call it my 3-2-1, which will also, I believe, help lift up the community. So after each and every meeting, including this meeting here today, including a district training, including an area training, including the international convention, after each and every meeting, jot down 3 things you learned. What were the 3 key points that you learned in this meeting? And we all know the value, we're speakers, we all know the value of 3. That's how we remember things. I do it in my phone, in my notes, and every meeting I put the date. These are the 3 things I learned. This is a trainer's trick. At the end of training, they ask you to summarize. They ask you, now we get the general evaluator to share, but if you want to get to where you want to go quicker, faster, better, I invite you to adopt this 3-2-1 model. 3 things, jot down 3 things you learned. 2 is give 2 unique compliments to someone that was in that meeting. I watched and observed how you did whatever it is, how you are so attentive. You are taking notes. I can see the light bulbs going off in your head. I can see how you engage others. I see how friendly you are to guests. I see something in you, but you need to tell them what that is so they can own it, so they know what their secret sauce is, so they know what's magical about them. Believe me, we all have so many negative thoughts going off on our head. And when you get to share with somebody and help them own an identity of who they are, it makes a difference. So this is not an evaluation on a speech. This is not an evaluation of their leadership. This is, I see something in you. And ladies, when we get that compliment, please do not push it back and tell them, but you have nice hair, but you're a good speaker, but you never use ums and ahs like I do. No, no, no. You must hold on to that compliment for at least 24 hours, 48 hours without throwing it back, throwing it out back at the person, rejecting it, essentially. You must own that compliment, and if after 24 hours you really must reciprocate, then please do it. I don't want you to lose sleep at night, but I do want you to learn to accept compliments and to give compliments. The one in my 3-2-1 model of how we can get to where we want to go quicker, faster, better is after each and every meeting, please say thank you to someone who made it possible for you to grow and learn today. Someone did the work. Someone set up the meeting. Someone is the Zoom master. Someone is admitting people in the room. Someone created the poster and put the advertising so we could be here today talking about it. And I hope when we get to the Q&A in a minute that you'll get to share with me how you want to, or how you see us developing community. So I will leave you with that. To build back stronger, you heard, it's about having quality meetings. It's about having members in the meeting, creating a great community that other organizations are talking about, and how you personally can get to where you want to go quicker, faster, better. Use the 3-2-1 model. 3 things you learned in this meeting. Send 2 compliments to others. And when you do, you will also learn about the person you want to become, and people will admire you because you've acknowledged something in them that they didn't see themselves. You'll be respected even more. 1 is give a note of gratitude. there's a huge gratitude gap in North America identified by corporations, and that's our job as well, to help close that gap. All right, I will turn it back over to Maggie. It was a delight to be with you, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Margaret. If everyone can unmute yourselves, and let's turn your cameras on, and let's give a loud round of applause to our International President, Margaret Page.
Good job, Margaret.
All the great information.
Yay.
Fantastic.
Good
Great
job, eh?
tips.
At this time, I'd like to invite members to ask questions of our International President, Margaret. And if you can do a raise of hands, that way it would help our Zoom master, Freddie, help call upon you. So, because I can't see everybody on the screen. We have so many different screens going on. That's great. Does anybody have a question?
I see Gail Turner.
Okay, Gail.
Margaret, what a joy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. One of the things that we're concerned about is the Advanced Leadership Club in particular is laying the groundwork for hybrid meetings. And one of the things that we have discovered with a lot of the people who are stuck at home is varying degrees of computer savvy, varying degrees of bandwidth, not to mention how we set up the camera, the screen, or whatever, so that the participants on site can see the virtual members, and the virtual members can see those on site. Now, I've been teaching a class this way, and I wish I could say I'd learned a lot, but I haven't. So what I'm curious to know is Toastmasters International been doing any kind of best practices at all, anywhere that you can share with us?
Yeah, clubs have been sharing as they're growing and learning. They've been sharing it on social media, and we will be collecting all that information. But there has to be enough trial and error to say this is the way, right? And right now, of course, with the pandemic high again, that's reduced the number of hybrid meetings that are going on. And we haven't had yet hybrid conferences going on either. So we will, but we need to have enough trial and error out there.
I'll tell you, I'm one of those believers that anything worth doing well is worth doing badly until you can do it well. So is there any place that y'all have been gathering, even if you release the stuff early and then we come back and say, nah, that was a good idea, but it ain't working? I encourage you to not wait until you have a perfect product, but to give us what they call in the business world, a minimal viable product that we can work from. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for that idea. We know that districts are sharing the minimal viable product out there, and so, but good idea. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Gail. And I applaud you for trying it out and work. It's not easy. Some people have thought, it's going to be easy. We'll set a laptop up here, and it is complicated, and you need to have good equipment. You need to have good equipment, or that will not be a quality experience. So one thing I can forewarn you about, you need to have enough people online, and you have to have enough people in the room. So thinking you can have 4 or 5 online, or maybe just 4 or 5 in the room, that's not best practices that I've been watching or observing. And I think Gail would probably, or would you agree with that, Gail?
I have to be candid. I have done with as few as 4 online and 4 in the room, and it was a good meeting, but we're always wrestling with the limited technical abilities of folks. And so being able to provide them with check sheets or things to help them look at the setup of their computers, to examine their profiles. Advanced Leadership was designed to be a hybrid club before COVID hit. So we were approaching this before it even began. Maggie and Robin were very far-sighted in their vision for this club, but the devil is in the details. And so after our first meeting, COVID hit, and so we have been fortunate to be virtual since then. But we're going back this week to attempt to do a hybrid meeting. And so any checklist for our members, for anybody, Because quite frankly, I'm happy if there's just one person on site and one person on virtual, as long as two people get together. The old expression, wherever two are gathered, somebody else is there. So we'll take what we can get.
All right, good. All right, thanks for that. I
right.
appreciate that.
Terry Neal had a question.
Yeah, this is about the conference and the business meeting, because I've been talking to Maggie. I'm serving as the district leadership chair. As Maggie explained it, and I understand it, the conference has to be hybrid, but the business meeting must be virtual. It can't be hybrid. Because I'm just concerned if we manage to get people to the conference and then tell them, no, you can't come into a business meeting. You got to go log on to a computer somewhere if you want to attend. It just seems like we should be able to do it virtually as well.
Well, we can do it virtually. What you're asking is to do it hybrid.
Yeah.
No, because the voting has to go virtually. And the platform is a virtual voting system. So otherwise there's two systems and you have a challenge with vote counts and the whole thing. So it's the business meeting must be virtual.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Maggie, are you calling? There's some hands up, or were you expecting me to?
Actually, no, Freddie, I've asked Freddie to do that, or
Oh, okay.
because I can't see everybody.
I am still looking for hands.
Larry's hand.
Larry has
Larry's
his
hands
hand
up,
up.
and then Jim Kennedy.
then Jim.
Yes.
Okay, Larry and then Jim.
Margaret, I have a question about contests. TI made the rule that said you either do every single contest virtually or you do every single contest in person. I think that's a bad idea myself. I mean, we like to have club contests in person. And if other clubs can't meet in person, then I say, okay, then you can do it virtually. Why can't we split it? Have the club decide and have the district decide, hey, if a club wants to be in person, let it be in person.
So clubs can decide. Clubs are separate entities. So clubs can decide how their contest is. Area, division, and districts are dictated or mandated by Toastmasters International. And so we need to be able to have an equal experience. We can't have some contestants saying, or some judges or something. So we need to have an experience that we can say is consistent across the board. And we need to take care of, make sure that our members are safe. Above all, they must be safe. So while we all want to meet on site and have a great on-site event, we have to have the capability, like now, when Omicron has risen its nasty head, to be able to say, no, we're going to switch. So districts get to choose, districts got to choose, and they all chose either virtual or online. Some they chose on-site or virtual, and those that have selected on-site, some of them have already remade that decision. So they've got halfway through the area contests. All of a sudden it's not safe in that country, so we're going to switch to virtual. So that's to provide a more consistent experience.
The district has the ability to switch then if conditions change.
They can go to virtual if they've selected on-site.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
But only one, so then you can't go back if all of a sudden in May, the condition changes again. You can't go back then, because by then people have been working on their, and just to provide a more consistent experience. Don't forget, we're in 143 countries around the world, so it makes a difference, and everything has to be translated in different languages as well, and understandable in different languages. So try and streamline, try and make it simple, try and make it consistent around the world.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim.
Thank you, Freddie, and thank you, Madam President, for taking my question. The question that I have really has to do with Zoom fatigue, and I was very interested in what you were talking about with many companies in North America saying that their meetings are going to be 60% virtual. And I also saw where you were talking about the quality of the meetings and the membership. One of the things that I know that as a division director that I am struggling with, and I know that my fellow division directors are struggling with the same thing, is now that we are 2 years in, you have a lot of people that are saying, you know what, I'm opting out of Toastmasters because I'm tired of meeting on Zoom. I want to see people, touch people, and all of that. And we're saying, yes, but in order to be safe, this is what we need to do. And also, this is the future. How have you seen other clubs address the Zoom fatigue issue, because of the fact that you are very accessible, and we see you in a number of locations, so you must have seen a number of other clubs and districts, how they're handling it. I'd like to have your thoughts on that.
Sure. Well, there's a whole, I could talk for an hour on this particular subject, but so we are in more of an intimate space in this virtual environment than we are if we were on site. If we were on site, maybe 2 or 3 would be on this. And so it becomes, and then what the challenge is, many of us have lighting coming from different directions. And so your unconscious mind is trying to process this, but on this side, the light's here, and on this one, the light's here. And so it's going a little bit crazy thinking, and then there's a separation in time between when your mouth is actually moving and it's hearing the words. There's just a slight delay. And so all these things, the unconscious mind has to process. But if you make meetings exciting, that people want to be a part of it, and that they're not tired, the standard that I said about this was Michael Minotaro was president a number of years ago, but when he first joined Toastmasters, he joined as a college student in university. And he said it was the only class that no one missed. There were standing room only. And so that's what you have to make your meetings like, for your own sake. Do you want to grow and learn to your maximum? Then make your meetings exciting, then do creative things. Look what our world champions did in this virtual space last summer. Astonishing, astonishing. But I cannot, I go to some clubs and half the people have their video off, and I cannot imagine leading a board of directors meeting with half the people having their video off. Would you approve of that? No, you would not approve of that. You wouldn't approve your city council doing that, your police department doing that, so are you here to grow and learn? So let's do that. But so another thing about this space, they recommend that it's from the elbow up. This is the space that we watch television in. Our broadcasters are all, and we can binge watch them for 5 hours, 6 hours. Why is that? For those that it's too much, how are you going to grow and learn? People want to grow and learn. People want to progress. It's part of our nature. We want to progress in some way. If you leave Toastmasters, how are you going to do that? Maybe you'll find a different way. Maybe you'll find a better way, but I believe this is the best place to do it. But Jim, give me a call sometime. We can talk about it more, because that's a topic I love to talk about. Let's get rid of that term, Zoom fatigue. It was created by some people that want less meetings. I want quality meetings.
Sal has a question.
Hi, Margaret.
My buddy Sal.
I just wanted to show the latest addition to Toastmasters, talking about the grandchild. This is my latest grandchild. He's already a Toastmaster from the future. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah. When I was on the board, Margaret, there were lots of challenges that have faced the board. And the board has really addressed those and overcame those challenges to keep our organization operative and running and healthy. I just like to if you share one or two of those challenges that the board has faced and how they address them, because I think we have to give credit to those people who work behind the scene for this organization. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, well, people may not know, but at world headquarters, we're not even considered a medium-sized business. We have fewer employees than we are countries that we exist in. And so when something happens, like the first convention that we had, where the technology that we had partnered with this company purchased their, that they were going to deliver the convention for us, and right away it crashed, the system crashed. World headquarters staff stayed up all night downloading everything onto our own personal website and delivered and executed it from there. Those people, there were many staff members that did not sleep that night, did not sleep, were working round the clock. And, sometimes some people can be, there were some not nice comments sometimes about that the system crashed and we all should have known better. And well, we didn't know better. We've never had a virtual convention, and we hadn't worked with this supplier before. And yes, we tested it out. We did everything possible except get all the Toastmasters into the room to understand it would crash. So that's one thing, but thank you for that, Sal. And there are so many other things during the crisis that you just can't thank those people enough, the hours in the day that they work. And so my encouragement to you, if you get an opportunity to speak to someone at World Headquarters and they treat you well and you get the answers you want, then please acknowledge them, please thank them for what they do. They're amazing people. I've never met one person there that I didn't think, oh my gosh. Actually, I'm going to tell a quick story. May I, Maggie?
Of course, you're their international president. You may do what you like.
So before I ran for the board, I happened to be down in California taking a conference there. And so World Headquarters was about an hour away. So I hired an Uber to take me up to World Headquarters. And I had arranged the day before. And so a gentleman was there at the time and toured me all around World Headquarters, gave me this sheet of paper and told me, how many emails they get a month, how many phone calls. But as I'm walking around there, there were these positive affirmation signs up on the wall, and there was a birthday and they had balloons there and there was cake there and people were singing happy birthday and all these little things on their desks of little encouragements and supportive. And I thought, I want to work here. This is like a dream place because they are so supportive of one another. It's just an amazing feeling. And so that's what my first experience at World Headquarters, I just could not believe. I thought this is the kind of thing that they write textbooks about. And here I am walking around experiencing this and being a part of this because I'm a member. This is us. This is who we are. And I was incredibly proud to be a Toastmaster. Thanks, Sal. But I want to thank Sal. Sal stepped in a time when we needed him. Second time around, he served on the board longer than most of us. And as always, many of Sal's techniques, his engineering, he comes through with some models for us that have been used years after he left the board. He's a good thinker, a critical thinker, and he will find a solution. So we value and appreciate our pal Sal. Thank you for acknowledging others at World Headquarters. That's what kind of leader you are.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. And in contrast, the second convention was almost flawless, by the way. It was a suburb compared to the first one. So I'm glad that you mentioned what happened in the first one, so people can compare the second one and how great it was.
It was really good, wasn't it? And we had some amazing speakers. Didn't you? Who liked Robin Benacasa? If you didn't see Robin Benacasa, you missed out on an extraordinary speaker. Frederica, are there other questions?
I do not see any other questions. Francine
And I
is
think I saw
waving her
Angela.
hand.
And I think I saw Angela.
Okay, Francine and then Angela. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everyone. And I don't have a question, but I wanted to say hello to our international president. Her name is Margaret, which is my mother's name, and my grandmother was named Maggie. And so I wanted to know, do they call you Maggie as well?
I wanted to be called Maggie because Maggie was fun, but I was called Margot, I was called Millie, I was called, I had people call Mildred at times, just, as a joke. And, but I've never been a Maggie. I've been a Marg, a Margaret, everything else, but not a Maggie. And I love the name Maggie. So there's some people, there is one, Pat Johnson calls me Maggie. She's about the only one in the world, but Maggie, your district director knows as well. So she will, make those kind of comments as well. And I see we have a Margaret Ann here because my name's a Margaret Ann as well. Probably named after Anne Margaret, but just reversed to Margaret Ann. Princess Margaret was born in Canada on Canadian soils. And they put a little piece in the hospital during World War II. And so I think that's what many of us were named at that particular time.
Excellent. Angela, did you have a question?
I'm a fairly new Toastmaster, and I really want some swag, but the shipping cost is really exorbitant when you order. So in this virtual environment where we don't get to go in person to conventions, is there any consideration for helping with some of those costs for ordering swag?
Well, if we're on site for a convention, and we will be in Nashville, Tennessee, then you, or today, that's the expectation, is that we'll be in Nashville. Of course, the pandemic will dictate what eventually ends up happening, but our expectation is that we'll be in Nashville, and you're certainly welcome to come, and there will be no charge for freight. But this is one of the things that you need to understand about a not-for-profit organization. If we are going to not charge for something somewhere, that money has to come out of somewhere else. So we cannot, if you're asking that we don't charge freight, where are we going to recover that? Or what are you willing to let go of in lieu of that? Those are the kind of decisions that Sal was asked to make, and people on the board make. You make those judgment calls. What's important here, what will grow the organization. But understand that whenever you're asking for cuts somewhere, then you have to give up somewhere else or pay something else. There's only, you can increase your revenue or reduce your expenses. So you have to do one or the other. But thank you, Angela. And if Maggie will send me your name and address, I will send you a piece of swag, so you don't have to worry about
I will take care of that. I got you. I'm going to get everybody's going to contact me now for that.
Yes, Ina and then Gail. Ina, your question?
Ina, you're on mute.
You're muted.
The most famous line of 2021.
Yes, yeah, we got to get that straight with the mute thing. It's not a question. It's just that Sal is part of Richmond Toastmasters, and I just want to say we love him. He has brought so much knowledge to us, and he has just made our team he's made our club so much better. So I just wanted to acknowledge that he is so part of us, and I love him to death. And his last speech, which was just Tuesday, that everybody was awed at it, because this is a veteran, which now the veterans hear him. We had 3 new people join.
Excellent. Well done. Good job.
3 new members because of his last speech. So I just
Thank you for that, Ina. I appreciate that.
us and just being a Richmond Fedmasters Toastmasters, and and I hope we just keep getting more members. And I know it's hard, we're in this elevation, but I love what was said tonight, that
Good. Thank
you
you.
need to just got to show yourself, because if you're in the building, you're there. So why aren't you showing yourself on the camera? But Sal, Richmond Fed loves you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much.
There's a couple other clubs I want to acknowledge, a couple other clubs before we go on to Gail. I mentioned Capital Speakers Toastmasters Club, but I understand St. Michael's. I love them because I have a son and a brother named Michael. St. Michael's got 7 DCP points, 16 members. Let's get that up to 28 to 32. Vinegar Hill, 8 DCP points. Love that name too. I have a grandson that loves vinegar. 23 members. Bravo to you. Few more members, get it up there. And Voices of Change with 8 DCP points, 18 members. Bravo to you all. Thanks. And then we'll go to Gail. And was somebody else supposed to speak this evening?
No. Okay. This is about you visiting our district tonight. So, Gail, did you have another question?
Ms. Page, this is a comment. I am a native Richmond Virginian. And as such, as a Southerner, I wanted to ask, was your middle name Ann? And the minute you confirmed that for us, I want you to know that henceforth, wherever in District 66 anybody says Maggie, we know we're talking about our district director. But henceforth, as far as I'm concerned, you're going to be known as Maggie Ann, and we'll all know who we're talking about. So if you find yourself down here in District 66, or if anybody shows up in Nashville and you hear somebody waving and going, Maggie Ann, you will know that it's one of us. So because we know at your heart, you are a fun girl. So we're looking forward to it. So thank you for joining us.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But here I have to share a little something with you as well, Gail. My club is in Richmond, British Columbia. And every time I put something in a search, I'll put whatever it is, car detailing, Richmond, I always get from the USA. So I feel like we're kindred. So we should be, what is that, sister cities? Or something.
There you go.
We can do that.
Richmond, BC and Richmond,
VA. We got it.
Yeah.
Right, did anybody else have a question?
Yes. Is it Blaze Gregory?
It is Blaze Gregory. Thank you. Thank you very much. Margaret, pleasure to hear from you. I've been a Toastmaster since 2014, and in my opinion, I think there are some distinct challenges, and I'd argue unique club cultures that exist in closed corporate clubs. I was curious to know approximately how many clubs are corporate clubs, and is there anything that you can share about how you can support us in some of our unique needs and or challenges?
Well, we're not clear exactly how many corporate clubs we have for a couple of reasons. First of all, when many were chartered, the charter didn't indicate corporate or non-corporate. And then some corporate clubs have gone, I believe maybe that was Capital Speakers or someone else had written about, they start off as a corporate club and then they invite community members in because most of the corporation moved somewhere else or whatever. But what I'm intrigued that hear you say is that you would like to know what we could do for corporate clubs, but I would like to ask you, what would you like us to do for corporate clubs?
Sure. I mean, we all struggle with membership growth. We all struggle with engagement. We've experimented and tried different things to improve that experience. Our membership rolls grow and then they wane. I think that there is a perception, and there is a perception, at least in our club and by some of our former members, that the Toastmasters culture doesn't necessarily fit the culture of the business in which we operate and in that environment. And so a number of our members are, they get in, they get started, they experience it, and then they get turned off by it. But we do share a number of similar struggles with growth and engagement and all of that. I mean, that's just going to always be. But in our situation too, we have a finite number of potential members since we have closed ranks. So it's just trying to get the word out and let people know who we are and what we offer. I don't have anything specific, but I would certainly be interested in sharing some of our challenges that we have not quite been able to overcome.
Sure, and I'd be happy to. But you're right, there are corporate clubs that think they have a very unique culture and would like a different sort of model. But I think when we work closely with human resources, HR, it works. Where we have some challenges is where HR sees the corporate club as a competitor, that they are delivering education and training for the corporation and they weren't involved when the club got going, or they're not involved in developing in the individuals. And so sometimes there's that challenge because the champions have not included HR for whatever reason. Maybe the company grew around it or whatever, but that's key to being a successful corporate club, is working hand in hand with the HR department. And then we've seen some exciting things, when you can work with your corporation to, when you've completed a path or a level, you get a day off, or completed a path and they'll take you out for lunch, or so those kind of incentives to inspire people. And when we have managers that say, you can do this on your lunch hour because we know how valuable it is and how you're going to grow and serve this. So I'm happy to give you your lunch hour. Those are the kind of things we would encourage. I wouldn't encourage total, we're just going to pay your membership. And then I don't see that as a good success. But if you complete the path, we'll reimburse you your membership or something like that. But I wouldn't, if a corporation came to me and said, we're thinking of paying all the members' dues, I would say, maybe you should rethink that and find a way that, because they have to have some investment into it as well on contributing.
Well, I'm delighted to say that we have really strong executive sponsorship, and our CITO, Shamim Mohammed, was a charter member of our club, and he has ponied up membership dollars in our training budget for up to 30 members. And so we use that to encourage people to join. And all it is a commitment of your time. And if you show that you're committed to the club and you're making some progress, then of course the company covers your dues. So the barrier to entry is not necessarily the cost for us. It's just getting people and keeping people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Larry has a question, and then Jamar. Oh, I'm so sorry, Madam President.
No, that's fine. I was just going to, my email is mpage@toastmasters.org. So I look forward to getting, Toastmaster Gregory, I'll look forward to getting some information on your corporation and some of the recommendations you have moving forward. I'm always excited when I see leadership in action. Thank you.
Blaze, I just want to make you a comment. Here in Northwest Arkansas, we have the home of Walmart, and they have 5 clubs within their company. We also have JB Hunt and Tyson have corporate clubs, and they're pretty successful. One of our past district directors who works for Walmart has started a program and with one or two of the clubs there, and they are moving people through pathways like you would not believe. It is absolutely incredible what she's doing with them. So the Walmart is really supporting them. They reimburse their members after they have completed 2 levels. Then they get reimbursed.
Nice strategy. Good strategy.
Excellent. Thank you, Larry.
Just to step in for a second, I want to throw a voice of acclamation behind Perry's idea of trying to do the best to get, and yours, Margaret, as well, to get HR involved in this. This is a great training for leadership development, and how corporate America is not doing that, I don't understand. So Perry's recommendation that there be a column in the Toastmasters magazine that supports the corporate clubs, I think would be good for all of us.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah. We do have at World Headquarters a corporate liaison person, and but I like that idea. So thank you for that. I will throw that into our pool of ideas. Thanks, Perry. I appreciate that. And I think we have Jamar, and I do have another meeting in 10 minutes, so I'll have. But I just love spending time with you all.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Jamar.
Hi. I appreciate you giving this presentation tonight. I can tell you I was area director in the area that Capital Speakers is located maybe like 2 years ago, and attending their meeting. One thing I can tell you is that they're very engaged in a club. And like you said about the meetings were fun. Also, too, the president at the time, she told me that they actually work together to help members with the development of their speeches. So the person doesn't feel all alone with trying to figure these things out. So they have a lot of teamwork. One thing I want to ask you as well, the 4 points. I was so engaged in listening to your speech. I wanted to go back on those 4 points of a quality virtual meeting, if you could repeat those.
Sure. So we defined what a quality on-site meeting was.
Yes.
We have not yet defined what a quality virtual meeting is, but a quality on-site meeting is, a virtual club needs to have these as well, but there's some more components to a virtual club that are needed. But a professional agenda. So that doesn't mean when you come to the meeting that someone says we need a table topics master, who's going to be that, we need an evaluator for Cindy's speech, who can be. So a professional agenda that's there, that's given out, and the roles are all filled. Variety in the meetings. And when sometimes I do this presentation, I have ice cream cones to express some nice variety in meetings. So and particularly outside of North America, when they come to meetings in North America, I remember past international president Balraj Arunasalam, he said, you just do 3 speeches and 3 table topics. It's the same at every single meeting. So variety in meetings, shake it up, have a debate, have, different kind of things, have different themes, and have one night that's all speeches, a speechathon, or, so shake it up, have some variety in the meetings. The third place is fun and supportive. So that's about mentoring, that there's mentoring and it's fun. So it's not that we're going to cut everyone off at the knees because they had 14 ums and, they didn't address the chair, or they didn't say, welcome fellow Toastmasters, or whatever it is. So fun and supportive, mentoring, transformative mentoring, and evaluations. And the fourth piece is, and by the way, Dr. Smedley felt our 2 cornerstones of success were evaluations and mentoring. That's what Dr. Smedley felt. And he said, if a club isn't successful, look to those 2 things. Now, I believe our unique selling proposition is our club. I think our club sets us apart from every other product in the market that teaches effective speaking, and that's our secret sauce, is the club environment, and it creates multiple levels of learning. We learn from the club, we learn from the Pathways learning experience, we learn from fellow members, we learn from delivering our own speeches, and we learn from leadership. We have multiple levels of learning. You can go take an effective speaking class at your local college and you'll get one level, but in Toastmasters, you get multiple levels. So it's a bigger bang for your buck, is my belief. So the fourth piece is member achievement, acknowledges member achievement, recognition, recognition, recognition. We had Ayanna here a little while ago, acknowledging a fellow member in her club, someone that has contributed countless hours. It's that recognition, recognition, recognition. People need recognition for their contributions. We don't ask for it, but it makes a difference.
Okay, well, thank you for going back on those. I got it the first time. I was looking for those virtual, points. But one other thing I want to ask you, I know you have a meeting to go to. I'm a part of a corporate club as well. And I was wondering if Toastmasters have thought of any professional development type trainings as far as pathways that's specifically geared to corporate clubs. You know, the material is good that we already have in pathways, but I was wondering if it could be like an actual path that's geared towards a corporate club environment for members.
What would be the content of that path?
I will have to get with you on email.
Okay, do that.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear that opportunity. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Maggie, thank you so much for inviting me here today. I just love having this opportunity to be eyeball to eyeball with members. And I have to say, you really got people to turn on their videos. Well done, bravo. Yay, District 66.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for being here. I'll let everybody unmute and give a round of applause. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing presentation.
Maggie Ann.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Madam President.
Are we
This
taking
district is big enough for two Maggies. Come back anytime. We'd love to have you again.
Okay, are we taking a picture, Maggie?
What's that?
Are we taking a picture?
Well, I have taken some, but we can get some more.
Oh, okay. If you've taken some already,
That's all right. Let's get one more while we have everyone here.
So everybody smile.
Video on. Happy New Year, everyone. And
Happy New Year. Thank you, Margaret.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye now.